This decretal amount demonstrates the county government commitment to complying with court orders, reducing contingent liability, and promoting prudent financial management and development programs. Work injury benefit compensation without insurance cover. The county executive acknowledged the payment of Kenya shilling 7,169,709 to the estate of the late Mr. Ayub Kinyuma Mbogo in compliance with the directive issued by the Directorate of Occupational Safety and Health Services via its letter reference number WIBA CGL 1432 dated 6 February 2020. The late Mr. Ayub Kinyuma Mbogo lost his life during the Mpeketoni terror attack in 2014 at a time when devolution had recently been operationalized and the county governments were still in their formative stages. Consequently, the county government had not yet procured a work injury benefit insurance cover for its employee. In recognition of the deceased's entitlement to compensation under the Work Injury Benefit Act, Cap 236 of the laws of Kenya, and in order to avoid protracted litigation and the attendant legal cost, as well as to evaluate the hardship faced by the deceased dependents who relied on him for their livelihood, maintenance, and education, the county government paid the amount assessed and directed by the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection through the Directorate of Occupational Safety and Health Services. A review of legal liability is undertaken to prevent delay and avoid the accrual of interest.
Lamu is doing quite well in terms of giving quite comprehensive answers. Auditor, what is still outstanding?
Outstanding is in their response they've indicated that they're in negotiation with correspondence with SHA to explore whether they can actually have an insurance covering employees on work injury. So I think that is what is work in progress. So we didn't get any correspondence from them. So I think as we go into the in-year audits, we'll actually inquire and see whether there is active engagement. Thank you, Chair.
But on the issue of paying interest on the decretal sum, there's nothing much you can do about it.
There's nothing much you can do because the first one was based on a court order and the second one was also based on a government department directive. Thank you, Chair.
But then the steps taken, can they suffice to mitigate?
What now they've not told us is...
It's okay. Senator Andy?
Governor, I've noticed, I've read this report. I've noticed there is a lot of breach of law. You know, I'll not forgive you because you are a lawyer. And I want to repeat that if there is no excuse of the law, you don't have, and your legal person is just there. But Chair, since we adopted this report as is, I want to take the trajectory that we have taken, all steps taken. I wish for efficiency, they would have, and for example, let me just pick a very good survivor. So Chair, the budgetary on the issue of the register of claims, Chair, and then the budgetary provision through contingent liability, and then finally, Chair, on these degrees that the courts have issued. If the governor would have attached, then we cannot just take the word for it.
Okay. Governor?
Chair, within the next 7 days, we can deliver that to the Senate.
The management was in breach of the law. Thank you, Chair.
Regarding the procurement of fuel, oil, and lubricant through the request of a quotation method, and appreciate the concern raised on compliance and regulation 91 of the Public Procurement and Asset Regulation 2020 and the expenditure threshold for RFQ contained in the second schedule. After reviewing the matter, management wishes to provide the following clarifications. Departments in the county government are independent procuring entity as defined under the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015. Section 2 of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act defines public entity to include any organ or department of county government. In line of this definition, each county department was treated as distinct procuring entity with its own designated accounting officer as provided for under Section 44 of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015. Accordingly, each department initiated and managed its own procurement process based on its approved procurement plan and budget. Each fuel purchase was conducted within the RFQ threshold. The procurement of fuel, oil, and lubricant by department was undertaken individually, and each request fell within the allowable RFQ threshold of 3 million per procurement, in accordance with Section 105 of PPAD Act 2015, Regulation 91 of the PPAD Regulation 2020, and second schedule of threshold matrix. No single requisition exceeded the prescribed limit, and therefore the procurement method applied was compliant at the departmental level. Decentralized procurement was based on operational structure. Department initiate fuel procurement due to their operational needs, such as field operation, transport logistics, and machinery support. Each department also maintain its own vote book of account and spending authority, making it necessary to conduct procurement at the departmental level rather than centrally. The decentralized approach was therefore consistent with the departmental mandate, budgetary allocation, and the operational need to ensure continuity service delivery. Aggregation was not practically possible, although the overall county expenditure appears consolidated at the financial statement level. This does not reflect the translational reality entity under the Act, Section 2. Improvement measures going forward. To enhance compliance and avoid misinterpretation in future audits, management in implementation of the following actions: central consolidation of fuel framework contracts to supplement departmental RFQ where appropriate. In conclusion, management therefore maintained that the procurement of fuel, oil, and lubricant was conducted in compliance with the Public Procurement Act 2015 and Regulation 2020. Each county department qualified as a public entity under Section 2 of the Act. Each department had its own accounting officer and initiated procurement independently. All purchases were within the 3 million RFQ threshold as provided by under Section Regulation 91 and second schedule. Steps taken. The county government undertook an open...
Leave that, eh?
Yes.
Because it's quite long. Auditor, that explanation, how does it sit with you? That each department was doing procurement separately?
Thank you, Chair.
Less than 3 million, but when you aggregate, then it becomes very big.
So now what we would have loved to see was just to see the list of LPOs that were issued in respect of each department with amounts indicating that the threshold of 3 million was actually met by all. And if you aggregate them, then you arrive at the total figure. That would have made a lot of sense. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, I have a problem with your indulgence. OAG, so when you saw this advert for the procurement of fuel, oil, and lubricants, it was one consolidated tender, as per your observation, because in your certificate you have raised that when it is below 3 million, you can request through quotation, but when it is above, of course, you tap it. So when you were auditing, this was a consolidated tender?
No, it was not a consolidated tender.
Then why were you arguing that they procured beyond the threshold of request for quotation through the chair of 3 million?
Thank you, Chair. The audit observation was that if you look at the total fuel consumption, which is 67 million,
correct,
that amount is huge. And if you are to do an open tender, then it is more efficient to manage because it can be controlled from a central point in terms of management and accountability. Thank you, Chair.
So finally, Chair, I've seen the governor has indicated, given detail, but you have said steps taken is now for open tender process for the supply. Governor, what was the reasoning of segregating these tenders and ensuring, we saw yesterday in Wajir that there was 1.9, 1.9, 1.9. So why were you segregating to 3 million through your person? Why were you segregating? What is the justification? Because 67 million segregating into 3 million each, it will appear as cumbersome a lump sum. Or does it mean the access to fuel and lubricants in Lamu is a big problem.
Yes, Governor.
Chair, I think this was for efficiency in operations. You have, we have like the Department of Health. We have level 4 hospitals, King Fahd, Pfizer Hospital, and Peketoni Hospital, each having their peculiar requirement for fuel. So for efficiency, we allowed the departments to procure.
Chair, just Governor, sorry for taking you, but I know we are rushing against time. If today you give this opportunity to, for example, Shell or Ruby's or Starbucks or whichever, or Starbucks or Ruby's or Shell or Total, I thought when you give tender, if there is a Shell that is next to King Fahd, they get their service there. Or you don't, or you don't have maybe the senator, or you don't have a petrol station, for example, that is prominent within Lamu County, or a company that is prominent.
Not really. The geography is a challenge.
Yes, Treasury.
Yes,
Please help us.
Yes.
Chair, maybe if I may understand the transaction, is that the county entities were procuring fuel, but the problem is they were not mapped such that now the aggregated figure is reflected in the executive. I think that is my understanding. Such that now the individual entities were procuring on their own, but it is reflected in the larger county.
That is how I've understood it also.
That is how I understand it. Because as the audit is the source of that figure, that's why the audit is requesting for the individual quotations from if really it was done in the county entities, now the individual entity, the respective quotations can clarify the whole amount of the 50+ million. I think that is my understanding.
No, the auditor made that finding, and the executive was supposed to explain. I don't know if you explained that during the time of audit. And if you did, then there must have been something that compelled
Statements. Then why was it appearing on consolidated executive financial statement? So the auditor maybe through the chair,
yes.
through the chair, auditor, maybe you can give us the wisdom, because I thought if, for example, King Fahd Hospital has its own financial statement, then it should reflect at King Fahd without a consolidated. Maybe.
Chair,
And they should have their own procurement.
Governor, we are assisting you.
yeah, no, Chair, I just want to clarify. Even with FIF, it's not enough. So the county executive supports the entities. We don't collect enough.
No, that's not the point.
Yeah.
That is not the point. The point is procurement at the entity level. They are allowed to have procurement officers.
Yes, they do that.
And so if they are purchasing oil and lubricants less than 3 million, then they are allowed to do procurement at that level. But in that global figure, when it comes to the financial statements, it comes to 60 million. And that's what they mean. That now they have an open tender process, which then would do the tendering for all the entities, I believe. So much so that request to be supplied by the
But the FIF is, you know, if the hospitals are allowed now under FIF, as you have chair, to procure on their own.
yes.
So when they appear before peak, and I know they have appeared, those appearances will come through the financial statements of that specific
And they should be allowed
facility.
to procure competitively.
Correct, they competitively and as per the procurement laws.
Chair.
Yes.
Chair, you know, this procurement for oil and lubricants has been a major challenge to a lot of counties. And I don't know why. Because I've also heard my colleague here alluding to a situation where perhaps if you procure with Shell, then is there a Shell that is near a facility that is consuming the oil? I would want to understand how this central procurement would work. Because first of all, Chair, you realize that if it is a petrol station branded Shell, it does not mean that it is owned by a Shell headquarters. It's a franchise. So it's a business entity on its own, where it is. So you cannot procure centrally for Shell and then you assume that any Shell petrol station anywhere will be able to supply the entities that want to consume the oil and lubricants. So this centralized procurement for oil and lubricants, I want to understand how that will work. Perhaps for Lamu it could, because they're small in terms of landmass, but for places like where we come from, I don't know how that would work.
And then also maybe unless we are doing for departments, you know, Department of Education would require fuel, Department of Health, Department of Lands, and each department then has a procuring, as a procuring entity, procure on their own. Maybe let's get to your wisdom for the open tender.
And Chair, for your information, the whole of Lamu East constituency does not have a single petrol station.
Even one.
Even one.
Through the chair, I also want to add that.
Yes, see.
Thank you, Chair.
I thought you were on.
I also want to add that in Lamu County, there are areas that we need to operate. Which
Order members, order.
In Lamu County, there are areas which we need to operate, which are in the islands. And one of the requirements for a supplier to supply fuel for Lamu, he must have a petrol station at sea. Therefore, that's also another challenge. And the basic reason as to why we procure through departments is because of that kind of uniqueness of Lamu geography. But we have had the observation of the auditor, and we are acting on it. We are procuring all the fuel. In fact, this financial year, we procured through an open tender.
So how will it work? You have many hospitals.
There are challenges.
You also have departments within the executive.
Yeah, there are challenges, but because you are guided by the law and they're insisting on it, but I just wanted some clarification and insight. Was it a breach of law to procure through a department which is mandated by law that this department can procure, and the threshold is allowable for that department to procure, and all procedures, in fact the auditor can attest to it, all procedures for procuring through threshold, 3 million were followed.
Okay, auditor, let me just hear your thinking again, then we close this issue. It's a bit interesting.
Thank you, Chair. I think what the observation was actually saying is that if you look at the total expenditure, which was 67 million, so if you break it down into 3 million, then it's like splitting the tender. You're avoiding competition. So that was the gist of the query. Yes, thank you, Chair.
We'll look at it. Okay, Governor, you want to say something?
Yeah.
You can open up some other things.
The 3 million is threshold.
Yes.
Doesn't mean that everyone is 3 million.
Yeah, I know.
It's
I
2
understand.
million, it's 1 million.
I understand.
Meaning we did not exceed the threshold.
I think for us, because he looked at the global figure to make that observation, for us also we'll sit and write our report according to what will be advised by our people and also how we look at it. Members, because of time, we had said we'll end it at midday, actually some minutes to midday, so that we can start on Nairobi. I have marked the issues that we've looked at. There are issues that we've not looked at that require our attention. So, Governor, we should be able to call you back here, especially for the delayed projects and other issues on, mainly it is just delayed projects. We want to know how far the projects like the county headquarters, construction of governor's residence, further sub-county headquarters, all those we've not looked at. And also we have the issue of ROR, which we've not looked at. So I know we'd have opportunity to invite you again, but our time is up. We need to adjourn for some few minutes, members. I'll give you opportunity to talk. Yeah, we'll have to adjourn for some few minutes, but before we do that, let me have a, can you donate our time to Senator Lamu to give some remarks? There will really not be closing remarks because we've not finished with this report. So, Governor, please just have a closing remarks, then we would see how to end it.
Chair, first, thank you very much on the delayed projects. Thanks to the Senate. What was missing was the funding from the national government. And I appeared before other committees of the Senate to push for this county headquarters funding. And as of yesterday, we have received the first tranche of 120 million. So I just want to express our appreciation to the Senate for pushing, because this money was always budgeted, but it was never paid over to us, the 5 counties. So
is that the whole amount that is required to complete?
No, I said it's the first tranche. There's still some.
Okay, out of how much?
But at least we'll be able, like in my county headquarters, a building is there, I can at least complete 1 floor and make it useful for occupation. So I really appreciate and I thank all of you for according us this opportunity.
Senator Lamu.
Thank you very much, Chair. There is an issue that I wanted us to address on the issue of unfinished projects, but I've not seen it being captured here in the report, although it was supposed to be in the previous year, 2022, 2023. There was a time that the governor came into this committee, and there was some document that he was supposed to provide. And there was some money that was lost, around 795 million Kenya shillings. When the committee issued an instruction that the executive bring the report here, it was never brought. So there's a problem, Chair, because the governor took me to court on that issue. So now I don't understand the reason as to why the executive did not provide those documents to this committee. To date, those documents to the committee, so that now the committee can now give me those documents. It was never done. And the governor has taken me to court because of that issue.
Can I say something?
Just a minute.
No, please.
Just a minute. Just a minute.
You see,
I'll give you opportunity.
Okay.
I'll give you opportunity. Do you know the documents that are supposed to be brought?
Chair, it is in Hansard. Those documents were supposed to be the unfinished projects.
Chair, I think I chaired that meeting. Let me assist for efficiency. We direct, and then as a committee, I think you were chairing another meeting in the first floor. We were supposed to be given updates on unsolved prior year matters under the year under review on Appendix 1, number 21, project implementation status on acquisition of assets. So we were querying the amount that came to 795, and we directed then the governor and the executive to provide documentation to the OAG. I think Muriuki might have been there, or his colleague, and the secretariat to receive that amounted to 795 million. So, Chair, if you want finer details as per number 21, that is page 12 of the certificate appendix 1 on resolved prior year audit matters, then we can refer to the answer, and I would request my brother, Senator Kituku, to maybe give time and ensure you give correspondence to the finer details. But that order was given, so it is up to the OAG and Secretariat to indicate whether they received those documents. I yield back, Chair.
Governor?
Chair, with due respect, there was no money lost. And the senator went ahead in public and said the governor stole the money. There's a big difference. So I sued him for defamation.
So let's look at this thing. I'm not a lawyer myself, but being around lawyers, if we go to the depth of this matter, we might sink into the flouting the sub judice rule. Number one. Number two, if there are documents that were required, what they brought, if you don't know, we should be able to give you time so that we request for the same documents again, and then we look at the issue of the 799. 195 million at another meeting. Yes?
Chair, I have to confirm.
Chair.
Okay, see.
I want to assert that we replied, sent the document, and they were received at the Senate.
Okay.
We were given like 14 days to respond, and we responded within time and submitted the documents to this House.
Senator?
But I asked the AOG and they said that they never received the documents.
Did you ask our clerk?
Yes, I asked them. They said that they don't have the documents.
I think what you do, you just retrieve the doc for them. If they are with us, just give them over.
If they're there,
Chair, well guided, Chair. I will
give them to the senator.
Thanks.
If they are not there, then within the next 7 days, communicate to the governor.
So, Chair.
Within 14 days, they should be here if they are not supplied.
Chair.
Yes.
You know,
also we are pressed for time.
Yes. But you know, your colleague is in court.
Yes.
So you can't take it lightly. And I don't know which came first. Whether the court jumped on our case or we are jumping on the court's case. I don't know when this matter went to court. Did it go to court before we were seized of it, or it went to court after?
We were seized of it first.
Then how do you then get somebody to court on a matter that is before the Senate? Because the final examination.
The issue.
Wait,
he called me a thief in public. It's not what he said.
That matter will have to be subjected to a process. The determination will be made as to whether the money was lost and whether the loss is on account of theft or misapplication of funds. So I think it would have been better for the governor and also the Senate to allow this process. If we ask for documents, then we should have concluded on the documents. Then